Alright, everybody, 2024 has wrapped up and we are now in 2025. My went by quickly. So, to kick off 2025, I thought it would be nice to tier rank every single movie that I have seen back in 2024. So, basically, what I'm going to be doing for this tier ranking is I will be ranking every single movie that I thought was good and I thought was bad or I thought was okay. I will be putting each movie into the following categories. So bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Basically is me saying that I didn't enjoy this film and I just thought it was terrible in general. Didn't enjoy it / needs some work is a film that I didn't enjoy, but I feel like this film could have been better if there was some work, like writing, pacing, any of that to make it better. It's okay. It's okay. I enjoyed it. It's a film that I personally enjoyed, but I wouldn't really say it's my all-time favorite. I would say this film is really good. And at the very, very top, the high ranking deserves an Oscar. A film that I had enjoyed, which I feel like a film that should be awarded for its hard work with the writing, the pacing, the actors, the music, anything. Like, it deserves an Oscar. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Alright, the first film that we're going to start off with is Abigail. In this film, a group of would-be criminals kidnaps the 12-year-old of a powerful underworld figure, holding her for ransom in an isolated mansion. Their plan starts to unravel when they discover their young captive is actually a bloodthirsty vampire. That's right, a bloodthirsty vampire. They basically kidnapped
a ballerina vampire.
I actually really did enjoy this film, actually. I recognized the majority of the actors. I feel like they were all talented. And can I just praise the girl that plays Abigail, Alicia Ware? I have seen her in Matilda the Musical, if you all know what that is. Because I'm a theater kid. And if you guys don't know, that's fine. But the fact she went from being all like singing and joyful, and but in this movie she's a whole different person, and it's just amazing. Also, the storyline's great. I honestly love the idea that there's like a killer ballerina vampire just like I don't know, just terrorizing the group of criminals that kidnapped her. It's funny. Also, I highly do recommend it because there's a bunch of twists in there, and as somebody who loves plot twists, I highly recommend it. This movie is going into the I enjoyed it category. Next is Back to Black, which is a biopic of the life of English singer and songwriter Amy Winehouse. For those who don't know who Amy Winehouse is, she is a British singer and songwriter with over 30 million records sold worldwide. She is known for her deep, expressive contralto vocals and her electric mix of music genres, including soul, rhythm and blues, reggae, and jazz. Unfortunately, her life was cut short in 2011 at the age of just 27, which is incredibly young. Now, I am personally not a fan of biopics. I just feel like some biopics are historically inaccurate in a way, because it's pretty hard to create a biopic, especially when it's a famous person, because you need a lot of stuff in order to create that. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, the biopic is not very good, honestly, and I don't think it does Amy Winehouse justice at all. It's seen as shallow and a pretty inaccurate portrayal of Amy Winehouse's life, focusing too heavily on the tabloid aspects of her struggles with addiction and neglecting the depth of her artistry and personal complexities. I personally feel like that it needs some work, because, come on, it has so much potential. Also, no hate to the actress that played Amy Winehouse, but I feel like when she's singing, it sounds really flat. So, sorry. Next up we have is Challengers. Tashi, a tennis player turned coach, has transformed her husband from a mediocre player into a world-famous Grand Slam champion. To jolt him out of his recent losing streak, she makes him play a challenger event, close to the lowest level of tournament on the pro tour. Tensions soon run high when he finds himself standing across the net from the once promising, now burnt out Patrick, his former best friend and Tashi's former boyfriend. Now, I watched it because Zendaya was in this movie, and Zendaya is a very talented actress. Can I just say, this film absolutely sucked. It has a very confusing narrative with excessive time jumps, unlikable characters, a lack of depth in the tennis plot. It just focuses on like the relation dynamics, and I'm assuming is the love triangle between Zendaya and the two other actors. Like, it's just so bad. And I am not a fan of love triangles, by the way. That's one fact you know. And plus, the tennis plot is the central theme of the story. Like, it just doesn't focus on that. It doesn't touch it. It doesn't touch on any of that. This movie is unfortunately gonna have to go into this so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Next is Beetlejuice. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life gets turned upside down when her daughter discovers a portal to the afterlife. When someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, the mischievous demon soon returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. Now, obviously this is a sequel to Beetlejuice. I mean, why do you think it has Beetlejuice? 2 times, saying it 2 times. Beetlejuice 2. I honestly really love how many of the cast did reprise their roles. And so, for example, Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara. I really do enjoy the film. I am a Beetlejuice fan. I am a Tim Burton fan since this was directed by him. The only issue that I have with this movie is the pacing. It just moves pretty quickly at times, and it just moves fast. But I still enjoyed it. Next is Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool's peaceful existence comes crashing down when the Time Variance Authority recruits him to help safeguard the multiverse. He soon unites with his would-be pal, Wolverine, to complete the mission and save his world from a big threat. Let me just say right now, this movie is a masterpiece. In fact, it even deserves an Oscar for that matter. It's a lot of fun. It has action-packed nature, great chemistry between the characters, especially with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and the typical Deadpool brand of self-aware humor. That right there is a plus. Next is Dune 2. Paul Atreides unites with Chani and the Freemen while seeking revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he must prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. This is another masterpiece. Like, seriously, this film deserves an Oscar. It builds upon the strong foundation established in the first film, delivering a visual stunning, narratively epic experience with excellent performances, intricate world building, and a compelling story that delves deeper into character development, particularly with Chani. Still maintains the grandeur of unique aesthetic of the Dune universe. And plus, love the actors, Florence Pugh, Timothée Chalamet, and Zendaya. Next is Demon Slayer to the Hashira Training. Tanjiro fights the demon Hatengu, while the Hashira prepare for a final battle against Muzan Kibutsuchi. I had an anime phase back in 2022 before losing it, and as somebody who is a fan of Demon Slayer, I wouldn't consider myself as a oh, huge fan, we blah 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 blah. I thought I would just give this movie a shot, and honestly, the animation still looks good. It's really good, honestly. And I also love the story, and I also love the storyline. And considering the fact that Demon Slayer is an anime and pop culture, I can understand why so many people love it, and honestly, I'm all here for it. This one is going into the I enjoyed it category. Next is Damsel. A young woman agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to discover it was all a trap. She is thrown into a cave with a fire-breathing dragon and must rely solely on her wits and will to survive. Now, as somebody who is a big fan of Millie Bobby Brown, I just had to see this movie. If it has Millie Bobby Brown in it, out the door, let's go. Now, there is a lot of inconsistent CGI throughout, and the film works best when grounded in the major conflict. Therefore, it loses steam in the third act. The dialogue is forced and only consists of exposition. The plot can meander at times, and some might find the resolution a bit predictable. If I'm being honest, I honestly did find the film okay. It's okay. Next is Despicable Me 4. Gru welcomes a new member to the family, Gru Jr., who's intent on tormenting his dad. However, their peaceful existence soon comes crashing down when criminal mastermind Maxim Lamal escapes from prison and vows revenge against Gru. I feel like this movie in the franchise is the weakest out of the bunch. It has a lackluster story, uninspired plot points, a feeling of being rushed, and a disjointed narrative that jumps between ideas without proper development. However, it will get redeeming points for the ending. It was lovely. However, despite the lovely ending, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to put it into the didn't enjoy it / need some work category. Next is South Park: The End of Obesity. Weight loss drugs take the quiet mountain town of South Park by storm. When the overweight, foul-mouthed Eric Cartman is denied access to the medicine, he recruits Kyle, Stan, Butters, and Kenny for help. Despite its outrageous and satirical nature, it effectively highlights the serious issues surrounding obesity and the pharmaceutical industry, sparking how important conversations about the topic while still being very funny. However, some viewers may find the episode offensive due to its extreme portrayal of the subject matter. This one is going into the It's Okay category. Next is The Exorcism. A troubled actor begins to unravel while shooting a horror film. His estranged daughter wonders if he's slipping back into his past addictions or if there's something more sinister at play. This film sucked. Despite Russell Crowe being in the movie, it still couldn't save the film, honestly. It has a poorly executed plot, lack of depth in its characters, confusing narrative, and a failure to effectively blend the horror elements with these themes of addiction and personal turmoil. So bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Next is the Garfield movie. After an unexpected reunion with his long-lost father, a scruffy street cat named Garfield is forced to leave his perfectly pampered life in order to take part in a high-stakes heist. And an incredible outdoor adventure begins. Honestly, this film is pretty bland, honestly. It's boring, honestly. It lacks a lot of inspiration and perspiration, honestly. And Chris Pratt as Garfield, I don't think he's a good Garfield. It's not giving Garfield at all. However, I don't think the film is really that bad. I just feel like it needs some work. So because of that, it's going into the didn't enjoy it, needs some work category. Next is Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. The Spengler family returns to the iconic New York City firehouse where the original Ghostbusters have taken ghostbusting to the next level. When the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters new and old must unite to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. Now, this film was decent. I absolutely love the nostalgia of the actors that were in the previous Ghostbusters films coming back for this one. To be fair though, if you want to have a good movie, if you want to have like a sequel to a movie that was popular back in the day, you gotta have the actors that were in the previous movie come back in the new one, like for real. However, something that I personally really didn't like is Phoebe's character. Like, she had all the answers to every problem ever encountered, but still managed to mess up everything. And I'm supposed to be rooting for her. Oh. I will say this, honestly, though. I feel like the ghost... Like, at first, I was kind of rooting for the ghost and Phoebe to have, like, a... I don't know if I can say it. So many people were shipping the ghost and Phoebe, and I was also rooting for that, but later soon I realized that the ghost was honestly really manipulated towards Phoebe, and she almost killed her. Like, Phoebe, you deserve better. Regardless, this one's going into the it's okay category. Next is Harold and the Purple Crayon. Inside his book, adventurous Harold can make anything come to life simply by drawing it. After he grows up and draws himself off the book's pages and into the physical world, he soon learns his trusty crayon can set off more hilarious hijinks than he thought possible. However, when the power of unlimited imagination falls into the wrong hands, it will take all of his creativity to save both the real world and his own. Honestly, this movie was pretty decent, honestly. Would I say that this was a great film? Not really. But as somebody who has read Harold and the Purple Crayon, I kind of like the idea of Harold growing up, because he still has that child personality of him, and then he soon realizes that that his own creativeness fell into the wrong hands, and he uses his creativity that he learned to fight back, basically. But regardless, despite that, I'm gonna give it an it's okay. Next is Immaculate. An American nun embarks on a new journey when she joins a remote convent in the Italian countryside. However, her warm welcome quickly turns into a living nightmare when she discovers her new home harbors a sinister secret and unspeakable horrors. I thought this movie was terrible. Bizarre movie with a very fucked up ending. And honestly... Oh my god, how do I explain this? There's a scene in the movie where there's a section. And just watching that person scream violently was just, huge chills down my spine. Some might applaud that, but like, I'm so squeamish after that. Like, it's a WTF movie, honestly. So therefore, it was so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. I mean, technically, I think it was bad, but I feel like, thank you for traumatizing me. Next is Inside Out 2. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust have been running a successful operation by all accounts. However, when anxiety shows up, they aren't sure how to feel. This film was beautiful. As somebody with anxiety, like, in here, I could honestly relate to this film a lot. And like it has strong connections, and it's just so beautiful to watch. So therefore, this movie honestly deserves an Oscar. Next is It Ends With Us. Lily Bloom moves to Boston to chase her lifelong dream of opening her own business. A chance meeting with charming neurosurgeon Ryle Kincaid soon sparks an intense connection. But as the two fall deeply in love, she begins to see sides of Ryle that remind her of her parents' relationship. When Lily's first love, Atlas Corrigan, suddenly re-enters her life, her relationship with Ryle gets upended, leaving her with an impossible choice. Bad, 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 bad. I hate the book. It's because it gives the viewpoint from the abuser, and there's reasons that they give for their abusive behavior, which is really problematic. And it highlights it as like they're just snapping when they're angry, and it's just, what the fuck? And honestly, the movie is bad on so many levels. Yet, bizarre writing, bad direction, and a boring adaptation are simply not worthy of thought pieces. I am not a fan of Colleen Hoover's work, so therefore, and I hate the book, so therefore, it gives me a reason to hate the movie, which is why it is so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Next is Joker Folie à Deux. Struggling with his dual identity, failed comedian Arthur Fleck meets the love of his life, Harley Quinn, while incarcerated at Arkham State Hospital. From what I learned, that Joker 2, officially titled Joker Folie à Deux, I'm just gonna call it Joker 2 because honestly, I can't say Folie à Deux, but even though I can, but I rather much call it Joker 2. But anyway, it's also considered a musical, and honestly, it's a terrible musical. It has poorly executed musical elements, a convoluted plot, a lack of character development beyond the original Joker film. It fails to take place after the Joker movie, and it has a failure to capitalize on the potential of Harley Quinn, who is played by Lady Gaga, by the way. But yet, she couldn't save this film, unfortunately. So, this movie is obviously going into the so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Next is Kung Fu Panda 4. Po must train a new warrior when he's chosen to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. However, when a powerful shape-shifting sorceress sets her eyes on his Staff of Wisdom, he suddenly realizes he is going to need some help. Teaming up with a quick-witted Corsac Fox, Po soon discovers that heroes can be found in the most unexpected places. Okay, so I ended up looking at the cast for this movie, and the casting of Mr. Beast is so off for some reason. Like, I don't know, it's so random for some reason. It's just, I can't explain it. Now, Kung Fu Panda 4 is easily the weakest installment of the Kung Fu Panda franchise because it lacks a lot of emotions, which made the trilogy so great, but it still has a fun and fast-paced 90-minute adventure that makes sure Po still grows as a character by the end. But either way, I am going to put this into the I enjoyed it category. Next is Lisa Frankenstein. A misunderstood teenager and a reanimated Victorian corpse embark on a murderous journey together to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts. That's funny. I actually ended up watching this with my girlfriend, actually, and we both enjoyed it. I absolutely love the aesthetics in this movie. It's very striking, and there's a bunch of strong performances in the movie. There's a very clever twist on the classic Frankenstein story, and a darkly comedic script that embraces its absurdity. This one is going into the I enjoyed it category. Next is Maxine. In 1980s Hollywood, adult film star and aspiring actress Maxine Minx finally gets her big break. However, as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of Los Angeles, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. Even though the film has Emma Goth reprising her role as Maxine and exploring the death of Maxine herself and her character, I still feel like this film is the weakest installment of the X franchise. Because some of the writing is kind of weak and it leaves the plot thread still hanging, and the ending just left me on a very weak note. However, this film was okay. Next is the Mean Girls musical adaptation. New student Katie Heron gets welcomed into the top of the social food chain by an elite group of popular girls called the Plastics, ruled by the queen bee Regina George. However, when Katie makes the major misstep of falling for Regina's ex-boyfriend, she soon finds herself caught in their crosshairs. Now, obviously, this film was based off of the musical Mean Girls, and I am personally not a fan of the Mean Girls musical myself. No. There's just things that are wrong with it. And as for this movie, this film is a hot mess. I'm gonna be brutally honest when I say this. I feel like the actress that plays Katie Heron sounds really flat. And it's just, like, why? Oh, it sounds harsh, but I genuinely believed that she was miscasted. I'm so sorry. I will say that some actors did kill it, like Renee Rapp, because it made sense because she played Regina George on Broadway before, and Ivanka, who played Karen, because I feel like she definitely brings the character to life herself, and it's just great. However, I will say this, the clothes are awful. Like, could you not? It's so trash. Some of the characters in the movie, though, like, even though some are praised, some are no. But anyway, this movie is going into the didn't enjoy it, need some work category. Next is Miller's Girl. A creative writing assignment yields complex results between a teacher and his talented student. I'm gonna be completely honest right now, I really didn't enjoy the movie. Despite it having Jenna Ortega in this film, I just thought the film was very boring, honestly. It just didn't intrigue me. It felt really lackluster, honestly. Now, I wouldn't say the film is really, really bad. I would just say I just really didn't enjoy it. So, therefore, I'm going to put it into the didn't enjoy it / need some work category. Next is Moana 2. Moana journeys to the far seas of Oceania after receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors. Now, this movie was bad. Even though it's praised, but for me personally, it's bad because there are a lot of things that are wrong with this movie. The new characters is just so random, and it's just like, who are these people and why are they even here? Like, I don't understand. But anyway, this movie was made as a TV show previously, but it was later scrapped and it was turned into a movie. And honestly, you can really tell, like, there's always some problems and then they always wrap up, and then the next scene there's a problem and it always wraps up, and it keeps going on and on and on. I do, however, like the ending though. But anyway, this film is going into the didn't enjoy it / need some work. Next is A Sacrifice. American social psychologist Ben Monroe investigates a local cult in Berlin that is linked to a disturbing event, while his daughter becomes drawn into the world of a mysterious boy. Now, despite the fact that Sadie Sink is in this movie, because I love her, honestly, because why do you think I love both Millie Bobby Brown and Sadie Sink?
My name's Ketchup and my name is Mustard. Together we're Ketchup and Mustard.
However, this film is not good. There are so many conversations that goes nowhere and does not enhance the story. Unfortunately, this movie is going to have to go into the so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Sorry, Sadie. I should also point this out because I forgot to. The film also lacked a lot of suspense, and it was very predictable, and I just felt like it was a bit rushed and short without much happening. Next is Mufasa. Lost and alone, orphaned cub Mufasa meets a sympathetic lion named Taka, the heir to a royal bloodline. The chance meeting sets in motion an expansive journey of an extraordinary group of misfits searching for their destinies. This has so much things that are wrong with this movie, especially considering the fact that Disney claims that it is the #1 movie in the world, when in actuality it's Sonic 3. And plus, I literally made a video about this, covering this, and how they're trying too hard to bully theaters to not promote Sonic 3 and to promote Mufasa instead. Now, I did end up seeing the film myself, and honestly, I'm just gonna say what I said in the video previously. Making an animated movie and turning it into a live action film is very difficult, considering the fact that there's a lot of animals, especially if it's The Lion King, because The Lion King has so much animals, and it's really hard for CGI to bring the animals to life, because they just wind up looking very off and so not good. Anyway, this movie is going into the so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Next is Smile 2. About to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins to experience increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, she must face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. Now, I have seen this movie because of TikTok, because they were constantly promoting it on TikTok, and I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go see it since I saw the previous Smile, which Smile's a pretty mediocre franchise. It's okay, but like, yeah. But for the sequel, it's still the same. It's neutral. While it does have very good effective scares and psychological horror elements, it's where the main characters struggle. They have a lot of lack of depth and could have been explored much further. This movie was okay. Sonic 3. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite to battle Shadow, a mysterious new enemy with powers unlike anything they've faced before. With their abilities outmatched in every way, they seek out an unlikely alliance to stop Shadow and protect the planet. Sonic 3 is better than Mufasa, fight me. Like, seriously, like, adapting a video game is extremely difficult to pull off, especially when it's in live action. Considering the fact that Sonic previously looked like this, and so many people criticized the filmmakers for this, they instantly picked it up and they remodeled it, and he ended up looking amazing. Like, this film has a lot of potential. Everything about this movie is so good. It captures Shadow's backstory. It captures pretty much every concept from the game, which makes me believe that this film truly deserves an Oscar. Next is Tarot. Friends unwittingly unleash an unspeakable evil trapped within a cursed deck of tarot cards. One by one, they come face to face with fate, racing against death to escape the future foretold in their readings. This film wasn't good. It has a predictable plot, weak characters, poor dialogue, and lackluster scares. Like, it wasn't that scary. It feels very cliche, honestly. This film is going into the so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. Next is Terrifier 3. After surviving Art the Clown's Halloween massacre, Sienna and her brother struggle to rebuild their shattered lives. As the holiday season approaches, they try to embrace the Christmas spirit and leave the horrors of the past behind. However, just when they think they're safe, Art returns, determined to turn their holiday cheer into a new nightmare. Terrifier 3 is an absolute disappointment, honestly. There's no connection to the movie. It just jumps all over the place. The characters had little to no development for a 2-hour movie, unfortunately. And the quote-unquote scary characters are just trash. Besides, they're kinda a bit funny. The gore was mediocre, though. This is going into the so bad that I would like my refund. Next is Venom 3. Andy Brock and Venom must take a devastating decision as they are pursued by a mysterious military man and alien monsters from Venom's home world. Despite the negative reviews, boo me if you want, but I actually enjoyed this film. I absolutely love Tom Hardy's ability to bring depth and humor to the Eddie Brock/Venom dynamic, and as well as the visually appealing fight scenes. It also offers a very satisfying ending to the story arc as well too, and the film maintains the comedic tone that has become hallmark of the Venom franchise. As again, despite the criticisms, this one is going into the I enjoyed it category. Next is Wicked. Misunderstood because of her green skin, a young woman named Elphaba forges an unlikely but profound friendship with Glinda, a student with an unflinching desire for popularity. Following an encounter with the Wizard of Oz, their relationship soon reaches a crossroad as their lives begin to take very different paths. Now, this was also another musical adaptation of the Broadway musical Wicked, and this movie is a banger. Every cast creates their characters so well, and I also love the memes of the movie as well too. And can I just say, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande were truly made for the roles of Elphaba and Glinda. Like, not kidding when I say that. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it has everything, and it really makes a good retelling for The Wizard of Oz. So therefore, I am putting this movie into deserves an Oscar. Because it really does deserve an Oscar. Or a Tony. Or a Grammy. I don't know. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Not wanting to live in the shadows any longer, Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Owl, and Tigger take their fight to the town of Ashdown, leaving a bloody trail of death and mayhem in their wake. Bad. The low budget really shows for this movie, and I can't really think of anything good to say about this movie, honestly. It's just really bad. It's just so bad. Especially considering the fact that Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain, but oh well, it was not my choice. But irregardless, this movie's trash, and that's why I am putting it in the so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets. And finally, on our last movie, we have Y2K. On the last night of 1999, two high school juniors crash a New Year's Eve party, only to find themselves fighting for their lives when the terror of Y2K becomes a reality and all machines rise up against humanity. The biggest issue that I have with this movie is that it struggles to pinpoint what kind of film it wants to be. On one hand, the story feels some cheesy early 2000s comedy and on the nose of nostalgic throwbacks, but on the other hand, Y2K rapidly flips the switch at times, leaning into certain gory sequences as full horror and trying to create emotional weight with the sudden deaths of side characters. In fact, it barely has time to get attached to these characters in the first place. But regardless, I think this movie is okay. And we did it. We finally covered everything. And now, let's review the tier ranking. In the so bad that I would like a refund on my tickets category is The Challengers, The Exorcism, Immaculate, It Ends With Us, Joker 2, Mufasa, A Sacrifice, Tarot, Terrifier 3, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. In the didn't enjoy it / need some work category is Back to Black, Despicable Me 4, Garfield, Miller's Girl, Mean Girls, and Moana 2. In the It's Okay category is Damsel, South Park: The End of Obesity, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, Harold and the Purple Crayon, Maxine, Smile 2, and Y2K. In the I Enjoyed It category is Abigail, Beetlejuice, Demon Slayer: To the Hashira Training, Kung Fu Panda 4, Lisa Frankenstein, and Venom: The Last Dance. Films that deserve an Oscar category is Deadpool and Wolverine, Dune 2, Inside Out 2, Sonic 3, and Wicked. According to the list, I have so many films that are in the so bad that I would like a refund of my tickets, which makes me to believe that some films in 2024 weren't so good. But 2025 is here, so we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I want to know what you guys thought of your take of 2024's movies. And if you guys want to try this tier out, I will link the tier maker in the description below, so you could give it a shot and tell me about films that you enjoyed in 2024 or films that you didn't really enjoy in 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye, y'all.